Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here at Yeshiva Sama Nafshi, here in Yerushalayim, here at Kodesh, located on the Rehov Zikr and Yaakov, number 6, not too far from the central bus station, so you can walk from there, take a bus, of course, drive if you have a car. And if you're coming from Chutz La'aretz, please join us. Again, we're on Rehov Zikr and Yaakov, number 6, at the Chanukah Yeshiva Spati Knesset. You can daven Shakras here before you join our shirim, and then you have a breakfast, coffee here, and we're learning Pirkei Avos today, first here in the morning, 9 o'clock in general. Let's continue on. We started at the very beginning of the Pirkei Avos, Moshe Kibul Torah in the Sinai. Mostly Yeshua was a king, was a Canaan. When Nevi'im Mosra transferred the Torah, the Anshe Knesset Gedolah. Haim Amru Shlosha Devarim. And the Anshe Knesset Gedolah said 3 things. Okay, so there's an inherent question that the major portion are going to be more or less mentioning and answering. Haim Amru Shlosha Devarim. All right, take a look there. You have the sefer there. Haim Amru Shlosha Devarim.
Next to last line.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Now you have you see the Rashi. The Rashi's the first wide line. Haim Amru Shlosha Devarim. You have that much? You want to read that for us?
I lost it already.
Right there.
Okay, thank you. Haim Amru Shlosha Devarim. Shehatorah Miska Yemes Alehem.
Stop. Well, they said 3 things. Torah, that the Torah miskayemes aleim, that the Torah is established through them. Yeah, the Torah is established through them. Or maybe we could say miskayemes is preserved. It's miskayemes. It continues on because of these 3 things. Right? So now, if you want to flip, you can either look at the page here or whatever is easier. Get this printed out back as the second page I haven't done yet. So hopefully get it by Yom Rishon and have another edition. So the second here. Please look at that.
Thank you.
And here, if you want, you can flip to the Rav Bartanor in the back, or you can look at the second record there. You have the Mishnah, then Rashi, then the Rav Bartanura. You have it there, Marcus Yao. If you want to flip to the back, then it'll have Nakudo for you if you want to read it with Nakudo. It's on page Kuf Zion, Kuf of Zion. Not mistaken. No, sorry.
Kuf Lamed Zion.
Kuf Lamed Zion, right.
Right there. Okay. First lines up from the bottom.
Okay. Alright, so the first thing we read was actually in Pirkei Avos.
Right.
Now we're reading a commentary on the first thing we just read.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right, very good. First thing we read was Haim Amru Shlosha Devarim. They, the Anshe Knesset, said 3 things. That's the Mishnah in Avos itself. And now you have the 4th line up from the bottom there. That the bold letters, that's what we call the Divrei HaMaskil, right? That's like the where you plug in to where we originally read in the Mishnah. Now this is the Rav Bartanura, who was one of the early Achronim, and he has a comment on this. And again, the bold print is the quote from the Mishnah, which he's going to explain. That's what we refer to as the Divrei HaMaskil. Or Divrei HaMaskil. Divrei meaning words. Divrei meaning words. HaMaskil, the words that begin.
Divrei Torah is words of Torah.
Right. Words of Torah that begin, and it's usually like a running quote. And that's what then he begins his commentary. Sometimes the commentaries are longer, sometimes they're shorter. But in most cases, you always have a Divrei HaMaskil.
Okay, and what we just read, the Haim Amru, that's saying the men of the Great Assembly said 3 things.
Yes. Right.
Now we're going to Bartanura.
Right. And there's an inherent question which the Bartanura is going to. You'll see from the Bartanura. You'll see the inherent question.
Okay.
Based on his commentary.
Okay. All right. Haim Amru Shalosha Devarim. Harbe Devarim Amru. Elah Shalosh.
Okay, so that's the stop. When it comes to when you have the punctuation, it's worthwhile stopping, and then we'll try and translate it because each punctuation is really a thought, a concept.
Okay.
Right? So Harbe Devarim Amru. So what the translation is Harbe, many Devarim, many words or many things Amru, many words or things they said. Right? So the question that's really he's asking is obviously they said more than three things. Right? He's talking about the Anshe Knesset Gadol. There were Nevi'im, prophets among them. There were all Zakenim, all sages of the time. So obviously, and 120 people getting together for years on end. Obviously, many things were said. So what's unique about these three things that were said here in the Mishnah? So it says, Heim Amru Shlosha Devarim, meaning really it's not true. They said many things, right? However, the things that we're being taught here, these three things, among the many things that they said, must have specific significance, right?
Okay.
Exactly. And what is that?
Elah Shalosha Devarim Halalu Amaru. Sheyesh Bahem Kiyum HaTorah.
Ella. So what's significant, what's unique about these three things? Ella Shlosha Devarim Halalu. Rather, these three things, Amru, that they said, have specific significance. Sheyesh Behem Kiyum HaTorah. These three things have specific relevance to the preservation and the continuation of Torah. Right? Something specific that the Mishnah, when we compiled the Mishnayos, right? So these three statements of the Anshe Knesset Gadol were compiled in this Mishnah, right? And they have specific importance for us because they're coming to teach us those things which we want to know and understand, which are relevant to the preservation and continuation of the Torah. Very good. Okay, so that was the Rav Bartanura. Then we have the next, going also in the similar fashion. You have on your paper there the fourth one, Magena Avos L'Rashbat, right? On his commentary on this Mishnah, right? You have it there, Matas Yam?
Yes, sir.
You can continue if you like.
Magen Avos L'Roshavi L'Rashbats Al Avos Perek Aleph.
Good. Okay.
Him.
Now this is his commentary.
Him Amaru Shalosha Devarim Harova Harba Devarim Amaru.
Stop. So again, the same question. It's really a question. Haim Amru Shlosha Devarim, Harbe Devarim Amru. They said three things. Many things they said, right? So, like similar to the Rav Bartanura, he's dealing with he wants to come and explain why we should be taught these specific three things, or meaning why did the Mishnah give this a preface? Meaning it could have said V'heim Amru, right? I think it was the Maharal. I'll have to take another look. I think the Maharal goes into the question, why did it mention three at all? It didn't have to really mention three. Heim Amru Shlosha Devarim. Because it's Heim Amru, they said, right? Now, the fact that it mentions three, so that we always try and when you're faced with a Mishnah, and the Mishnah mentions a number, a specific number. Arba, for example, Arba Avos Netzikim. There are four major categories of damages. Four major categories of damages. You always, and many times the Gemara itself goes into this, is the numerical listing of these that you find in the Mishnah specific, or is it non-specific? Meaning, or in the Lashon HaKodesh, is it dafka or lav dafka, right? So many times we'll say there's more than 4, and we'll prove there's more than 4. So the Gemara will say Tana Vishayr, meaning we learned 4, Tana, we learned Vishayr, and we left over as others that we didn't teach you in the Mishnah. So the question is, well then why use a number? Right? If there are many things, so why use a number? So that's a question you could ask, and Gemara itself asks many times, and the answer will vary from time to time, Mishnah to Mishnah. Right? So here the Rav Bartanur and the Magin Avos L'Rashbats, they're both dealing with trying to explain why these 3 things were singled out, right, to be taught to us here in this particular Mishnah. But they're not answering the question, why specifically these 3? I mean, they could have said, Heim Amru, and that also they could have done these 3 things that you'll be listing. Those have to do with the Kiyum of Torah. Okay, so if I have a chance, I'll try to take another look at the Maral and see if the Maral gives an explanation why it specifically mentioned 3 here, when it's apparently not necessary. Right? Okay, let's see what the rest of the, so let's see what the Rashbats has to explain.
Shaharei hem sakat
Tiknu.
tiknu.
Meaning, as a general rule, whenever you see a yud in the middle of a word, you can usually assume there's a chirik, an e sound in the letter before it. So you have tiknu, and also when you have a nun vav at the end of a word,
Right.
you can always usually assume that's going to be a nun with the vav as pronounced as u. Nu.
Okay.
So that's some just general pronunciation rules.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Tiknu barachos. Oh, barachas.
Good.
Tefilos kedushos Vahabarlos.
Havdalos.
Havdalos.
Vahavdalos.
Right, from Havdalah, like that.
Havdalah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay. Vahavdalos.
So this is the proof. The Rashbats is bringing a proof, meaning he's asking the question. Hey, Mamru Shlosha Devarim. No, Harbe Devarim Mamru. They said many things, and what's his proof? Shari Haim Tiknu. They established brachos, meaning all the brachos that we say. Right, almost all of the brachos that we say are originating from the Anshe Knesses Gedolah, and Tfilos the Shmon Esreis, and also for the Shabbos and Musaf and for Yom Tovim, right? And Kedushos, when we say Kedusha, and Havdalos, or Kedusha, could be Kedusha also, and also Kedusha, Kiddush by Shabbos night, and Havdalah and Moitzi Shabbos. So they said, and they did many things. So it's not simply 3 things we should limit the Anshe Knesses Gedolah to. As I said, they were prophets and sages of the generation there. Obviously, they were busy speaking and teaching many, many different things in all aspects for many, many years. So it can't simply be 3 things. So what is it? And, okay, go ahead.
Kamo Shanatzcho
Shiniskar.
Shanitzkar Baperik
Yep.
Good.
Baperik Ain Omadin
Or Ein Omdim.
Omdim.
Yeah, that's a name of a parak in the Gemara in Brachos. Okay, so that's where we have a proof in the Gemara that the Anshe Knesses Gedolah is said in many, many different things. So what's the pshat? What is the meaning of these specific 3 things?
Ella Shalosha
Aval.
Aval Shalosha Devarim Elu Amaru Osam Lakim
Kayim.
Lakayim HaTorah.
Similar to the Rav Bartanur, right? And as we saw Rashi as well, that rather these 3 specific things have significance because they were said in order that there should be kiyum to the Torah. There should be a.
Each of the 3 things.
Oh, we didn't even get to that yet. That'll be the next step in the Mishnah. Right, the next, if you want, we can just take a look. Take a look at the Mishnah quickly, right?
What was his question?
what were the three
What
things?
were the actual three
Yeah,
things?
what are the actual three things?
What are the actual three things?
That's how you want to read the three things. Go back to the Mishnah. Take a look at the Mishnah there.
Okay.
So,
He said three things. Hevu masunim badin v'ha'amidu talmidim harbe v'asu siyag la Torah. Be deliberate in judgment, develop many disciples, and make a fence for the Torah.
right? Okay, so
That's the downfall right there.
what do you mean?
Make a fence for the Torah. I know Hashem is everything and knows everything and does it, but that's where we fell off the track, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, why? What do you mean? Explain.
The first fence for the Torah was in the Garden of Eden.
Okay.
And right off the bat, we broke the fence. But the fence was a misunderstanding of what the actual halacha was. And maybe if she knew the actual halacha, she wouldn't have broken through the fence.
Okay. Yeah, there's.
Sorry. That to me is Judaism 101, right there.
There's a lot to think about it. Who made the fence? That's number one. And but I'm not prepared to go into that right now.
I'm sorry.
No.
That's my personal spiel.
There's such an expression in the Gemara, "Kol hamosif goreya." Anyone who adds anything or anything that's added makes it worse.
Twisted.
Well, goreya, no, kol hamosif goreya. Anything that's added makes it worse. I mean, if you know that you're supposed to, if the recipe only calls for a pinch of salt, right? You put a teaspoon, like throw it in the garbage. Next batch, right? So that's true in many cases. Nevertheless, going back to the Garden of Eden for just for a moment, quickly. So as we know, Kadosh Baruch Hu told Adam Rishon not to eat from the Eitz Hadas. At that time, when that command was given, Chava was not yet created. Right? She wasn't around. Right? So therefore, she heard it from Adam Rishon. Now, there is if I'm not mistaken, there's a three-way way of understanding what actually occurred. One, that Adam, when he told Chava the command, he added on, and you're not supposed to touch the tree either. Others explain that when she heard the command, you're not supposed to eat, and she added on her own that you're not supposed to touch. And I think there's some that say it was the Nakush's own lies that did it. I'm not sure about that last statement. I have to check, right? So, but it was either way. It was all done with good intentions, right? Nevertheless, it was used to a disadvantage when it came to the Nakush pushing Chava into the Eitz Hadas. So, touched it and you're still alive. So that led to everything that happened there.
First canon was paved with good intentions.
Yeah.
Amen.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. So nevertheless, it deserves a explanation. And I tell you, as we will be spending time, we have three big things to learn here. We have, Masunim B'din, Amidim Talmidim, and also Side the Torah. So as we get to that last third thing, we'll be able to speak and explore more about it.
Good.
So keep
I have
coming.
a misunderstanding about it, I think.
No, okay, whatever, that's...
A general question.
Sure.
Throughout Pirkei Avos, we see such and such a Rav said something.
Right.
One thing, whatever. Now, I don't think any of these things that they particularly said were Kedushin when they said it. They weren't adding things to Pirkei Avos in their saying. So we really need to understand this is that these were things that each of these felt were particularly important over everything else, and they wanted to emphasize them.
Right. Okay. As you remember what the Rav Bartanor said on the very beginning there, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Take a look at the Rav Bartanor. Let's just cause it over. Yeah. We all have the Rav Bartanor. It's not on the page there. Let's see.
It's not in here.
Yeah, it's right on that on the page, but it's in the Sefer. Okay. Yeah. Lauren, you want to read that? Moshe Kibbutz Torah Messina. At the very, you have that. You have the very. You have the very first one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moshe Kibbutz Torah Messina. Moshe received Torah from Sinai. Amru Ani, I say, Fi Shemasech Zu Ena Miyusedet al Perush Mitzvah Mitzvah Torah Kasher Masechtas Sheva Mishnah. Since this Masechta is not ordered as a parish on mitzvahs.
I think if it mean you said it's meaning from foundation, but it's not founded.
Okay.
Seder arranged would be with a range.
Right. Sorry.
No problem.
It is not founded on the explanation of mitzvahs from mitzvahs in the Torah as other masechtas are. Elu kulam musarim umidas. This is all musar and midas. It was all of God came heroes for him, Kmo Balu Milibon, the Darke Amusar. And since the wisest people of the nations also have many books that talk about Musar.
Yeah, that was like Shabbat. When they were invented from their hearts, they were,
That's right. They developed on their own about the ways of Musar. Ketzad Yisnaheg Adam how a person should act to his friend. Leficha Chichil Hatana b'Masechah. Therefore, the Tana begins this Masechah. Moshe Kibbutz Torah from Sinai. Moshe received Torah from Sinai. Lo melachah Shamidos HaMusarim Sheb. Zor Masechta, the Midos and Musas in Masechta, Lo Badu Otam, Chachma and Mishnah, Billy Baum. The Chacham of the Mishnah did not come up to by themselves. Elaf Elu Nimrud B'Sinai. So everything was said in Sinai is just. So they chose each person. Each person chose to emphasize a particular. Just right. Personally, so this is important. This is important. I need to emphasize it. Not to exclude anything else, but
right.
I guess I like to tell people you pick a mitzvah that you take for yourself and be very didactic about it. So each of them were taking particular sayings out of the whole collection, saying this is the one I'm going to be didactic about.
Right. So that's one way of looking at it. Meaning they could also have had a Kabbalah from the Rebbe. All the way down, and also they could have made a special interest and a special tachlis of emphasizing this and excelling in these things, right? So we see sometimes in Margul Befumia, there was a pearl in his mouth. Really mean a pearl in his mouth. That it would be a saying that he would say over and over. He would go out and really put himself out to speak about this particular point. And he felt maybe that's something he was personally capable of.
That's why they always said Haya Amir. He used to say.
That's right. He used to say.
That's right. I remember Rabbi Golem, working at his and his mitzvah was there just for way. Specific things about,
Good. So those are the three things, right? Now let's go back to our sheets over here. Everyone have a sheet?
No.
Here we go. Okay. Now we're going to see a little bit more about going to go back and forth. the Karen Ora, that's the next major core over here. You see that there, Lauren? You like
Sure.
to continue on there? You have that, not to see how the second one?
The
Yes,
long
sir.
one.
The big one.
Karen Ora Meseka Sota. This is what Karen Ora says in Meseka Sota. Anshi Knesses Golish Achaziru Atars Liyoshna. The Anshi Knesses don't return the Torah, the crown of Torah as it was before. Yirmiyah, Daniel Lo Amru Gibor Genora, because as we learned earlier that Yirmiyah and Daniel did not say no Gibor Genora. The Gadol Amru Kulam, and all they said was Gadol. Vizuki Gimel Elu Haim Shivchei Yisparach Hashem, and these three words are the praises of Hashem. Midos HaChesed Din V'Rachmin. Midos of Chesed Din and Rachmin. Those are the main midos of Hashem.
Right, so Hashem, that's basic understanding that the three major characteristics of Kadosh Baruch Hu are Chesed, Din, and Rachmin. You have to understand the difference between Chesed and Rachmin, but okay, he's going to go a little bit into it, but as time goes on, we'll understand more about that.
Okay. Gadol Hu Al Midos Chasto Yisbarach. So Gadol refers to Chesed. Gibuhu Ulas Gibor Sav Midas Dino Letov Lincoln V'Nikmaso V'Nikmas Imo Me'avechem. So Gibor is the Midas of Din. It's talking about his strength, and it's the Midas of Din, of judging favorably. Reading?
No, yeah, that means like to exact nikmosoi,
Revenge.
to exact revenge, right?
But it's not the same root as Nakama?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
revenge.
The commentary.
Okay, to exact revenge and
Nikmosoi, I mean, something was done that Hashem on his own has a right to take vengeance out on somebody, and also nikmas imoy, and also the vengeance. Go ahead.
because Imo Me'oivehem.
Amo.
Amo, this was Amo, and the
Vengeance.
of his people on their enemies.
Meaning, so you have two aspects. There's vengeance for something which is needs to be exacted out because something was done directly to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak, and then something which is done to the Jewish people, from the enemies of the Jewish people. Two types of vengeance. One directly from Hashem, and one because of the wrongdoings that were done to the Jewish people, as we see this week's parsha, next week's parsha, the Asher Machos, Hashem is taking vengeance upon the Egyptians because of the wrongs they did to Klal Yisrael.
Rebbe, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. If we're not supposed to be vengeful, how can Hashem take vengeance?
Hashem can take vengeance. Sometimes we can take
Leave
vengeance
it
also.
in his
In
hands.
Parshas Midjan, for example, took vengeance for Hashem's name.
Right. So,
Fought the Midjan.
so let me ask you a question back to try and work on it. What's wrong with vengeance?
Vengeance is only going to be a personal thing to make me feel better. It's not going to do anything to him. It's not going to change the situation. It's just going to make me feel like I'm not wronged or whatever it is going on in my head.
Right.
It's not a positive thing.
Right. Okay. Good. Very good. Perfect.
Right.
Right.
It's a mitzvah.
Right. Oh.
You
That's
shouldn't.
right. That's for example, you wanted.
What did he just say? I didn't.
Explain.
What did you just
Don't
say?
take revenge and don't hold any
grudge.
No grudge. Don't take revenge. Right. That's
But that's for another Jew.
It's for another Jew.
That's if I wanted to borrow a spatula from you, and you said I'm not lending out spatulas, right? So then I feel bad that you didn't. You don't want to lend it out. right? Or let's say I come to you, I need a specialist, I don't have any, right? I know you, and then the next day you'll come to me, right? And you ask me for a screwdriver. I says, no, I'm not going to give you a screwdriver, you can give me a spatula, right? That's on a very minor way. We're talking about, so, but originally what you said, like, if it's just venting, right? That a person is frustrated over something that was wrong, he was wrong, right? So it's just venting and trying to take a vengeance to relieve his wrong that was done against him. So you're right, that doesn't accomplish anything. That just, like, makes a guy feel better temporarily. But when I'm talking about Hakadosh Baruch Hu taking vengeance, meaning there was some type of wrongdoing done, right? For example, the Egyptians, even though they may have had a right to enslave us, right, but to kill the baby children, to throw them into the cement to make the buildings that they were building, all the other things that they did to us, they had no right to do that, right? So therefore, as payment, as vengeance upon what they did, right? So we in fact, at the time of the Kriyas Yam Suf, part of the miracles that took place at the Yam Suf, that each individual Jew saw his individual Egyptian getting his individual specific punishments in correspondence to the punishments that the Egyptian did to that individual Jew. Right?
Is that not justice?
Oh, so,
Hashem exercised justice on them.
right.
Yeah, but,
Right.
but, that,
Oh, so
but he is
that's-
avenging their wrong.
Right.
Okay, he's avenging their wrong.
Right. Yeah, 2 weeks
Okay.
ago, 3 weeks ago.
He is doing he is on our behalf avenging the wrong that they did to us.
They're
Okay.
protectors. As a protector, he's going to fight for us.
By, and
Does it now? Does it later? He's still going to do it.
Okay.
Hanukkah time, 3 weeks ago, in the Al Nisim, have your siddur there, right?
Right.
Nikmosa. Hashem.
These miracles at this time.
Well, no, not the
No,
miracle.
vengeance.
The
Vengeance.
Vengeance, okay.
Vengeance.
Vengeance.
Right? So, okay, we'll have to stop, but that maybe I'll have a chance to go into a little more detail, and we can discuss a little bit more, because it's a very good thing to try and understand. What does it mean to that Hashem takes vengeance for us, he takes vengeance for himself, and what is the whole concept of taking
And the
vengeance?
idea of God